Hi, everybody. It's Randy with Direct Action. This podcast is brought to you by Carcajou Tactical and Grey Fox Strategic, two Canadian-owned and operated companies here in the National Capital Region. For your Direct Action DA10 code, plug that into Grey Fox Strategic when you go on their website and you're looking for your next purchase. Type in DA10 for a 10% discount off Grey Fox Strategic equipment and apparel. All right, hi everybody. How you doing? Randy with Direct Action here. We got an awesome guest here today, former colleague of mine, Dallas Alexander. Good dude, done a lot for the Canadian Armed Forces, done a lot for his community, and now is doing a lot for the music industry. I'm going to ask him a few questions about his past, going to ask a few questions about his future, and really get to know Dallas a little bit. So thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, hit all those buttons and key features that keep this rolling. Dallas, thanks for making the time, buddy. Appreciate it. Good to see you. And let's get into it, man. Tell us what have you been doing? What's the last 3 months been looking like for Dallas?
Most of the last 3 months I've been on the road. Play music now full time. So like we were just chatting about figuring that out, and miles and miles and miles and shows and learning everything musically that I can and getting better in that. But then there's the whole business side of music that's all new to me that I'm excited about learning also.
Right on. Yeah. So the learning, no matter what field, no matter what industry, doesn't have a finish line, man. Yeah. It's awesome. What so let's back up. Let's go right from the beginning. So where did you grow up? What's your family construct like? Brothers, sisters? What do you have?
Yeah, older brother, younger sister. We grew up Fishing Lake Métis settlement in Alberta, Canada. It's a little indigenous community. Probably maxed out at about 300 people, 350 people, and thousands of acres. So it was very backwoods kind of upbringing. It was my whole life was basically out in the woods and playing hockey. That was everything until, I joined the military basically.
So from a little kid, you played hockey? Up?
I thought that's the only thing I ever wanted to do really was play hockey. I wanted to play in the NHL. I remember playing almost every day of my life since I learned. I was just obsessed with it.
Yeah. In the neighborhood that you grew up, this small community, was there a lot of outdoor rinks that you guys had access to in the wintertime?
Well, there was one.
Yeah,
there was one, and that's where I did a lot of my, day-to-day skating, whatever. Mm-hmm. And once I got, I don't know, I was probably 12 or 13, I took over the maintenance of it for the community, just because I had to, okay, if I can keep the ice good, then I have a better place to skate every day.
Yep.
So I did that. It was just all so I could play hockey. It's the only thing I cared about.
And what about summertime sports? Did you play football? Did you play soccer or anything like that?
No, I played street hockey, and then I would go to hockey schools.
So it was literally hockey.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
Yeah.
Right on. And you said you had an older brother? No younger siblings?
Older brother and a younger sister. Sorry.
Oh, a younger sister as well? Right on. And you guys pretty close? You guys stay in contact?
Actually, my older brother passed away in 2019. My younger sister's still out west in Edmonton doing a bunch of stuff. She's up to all kinds of things.
Is she?
Yeah.
Good stuff. And what happened with your older brother?
Cancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How old was he?
Yeah, he would have been my age now, actually. So he's 42 at the time.
Really?
Which is crazy to think about.
So you're 42 right now?
I'm 42 right now. Yeah.
And he passed in 19?
Yeah, 2019.
So what's the year spread?
I don't know. You could do the math there. I'm not sure.
How old is he? How much older is he?
He was let's say I was born in 83, and he was a 79, so whatever, 4 years difference.
Okay, 4 years difference.
Yeah, if that makes sense. So maybe he would have been 40 at the time, or 41.
Okay.
Either way, it's in his 40s,
right? Young
40s, which is crazy to think about. That's,
and that is young.
Our age now, yeah.
And what cancer got him?
It's what was it, squamous cell something? It was in one of his lymphs, and it spread around. He fought it back and forth for a while, tried everything.
Yeah.
Just lost that scrap.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's unfortunate. That's such a young age.
Yeah.
Cancer's a bugger, man. It's a lot of people that have a family member or somebody that's very close to them that's either suffering currently or have watched the sickness grab a hold of them. So that's too bad, man.
Yeah.
But on a positive note, so your sister, she's pretty active. You guys are pretty close. You guys stay in contact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And because our band tours so much, we play a lot out west. Actually, I'd say a majority of our Canadian shows are out in Alberta, and that's where they're at. So it's always families get to come out to the shows,
Yeah,
and we all
that's
get to hang out quite often, which is cool.
Well, that's good. Good for you and good for them as well. That's cool. Right on, man. And then, so you joined the military. So then you left Alberta, and what was your streamline for military career?
Well, I still thought I was going to play hockey. So this is right at the last year of junior hockey. I had some camps lined up for like semi-pro leagues, some stuff in Europe. I was probably not going to go to the NHL, but I could have continued to play hockey, I think. And I was working during the off season on the oil field in Alberta. And the guy I was working with, like on a flush by truck, he told me about this unit in Canada, special operations. And I knew nothing about the military in Canada. I had no tie to it growing up. Little community, there was no really veterans there. Like
no other family members either?
No family members.
Right,
I had no idea.
Okay.
When he told me, I thought he was lying. Then I got up on the dial-up internet at the time and found out like there's this unit called JTF2, and they do counterterrorism and hostage rescue and stuff. And he had done a stint as like a comms guy in some unit in the military, so he just knew about it. He wasn't at the Hill or anything. But yeah, when he told me about it, there was something that I just became obsessed, and I started reading everything that was on the internet, which wasn't much. Any stories from other units, the SAS and Delta and SEALs, and any books, and I got into it. And I remember my focus changing in my mind. I was like, that is the next thing I want to do.
Right on.
And like, we'd be on the oil field doing whatever we were doing, a flush by truck. Sometimes it's hours, you're just waiting there. And I just remember doing like push-ups in the oil field and then like chin-ups on ladders. I was like, I'm getting ready for this. And I remember just laser focused shifting from hockey to wanting to be in special operations.
That's awesome. So you joined the military with a very clear goal of where you wanted to go.
I went to the recruiting center that it was the summer of 2005, he told me. So I went to the recruiting center when I got back to Edmonton off that like shift of work, and it was September or something. And I said, I want to join the military and I want to go to JTF2. And they're like, all right, kid.
As a matter of fact.
Sure, kid.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And then, so the recruiter, because, I have a lot of great conversations with young men and women who are, they have aspirations to get into the Canadian Forces with either, CSOR or JTF2 or CJIRU.
Yep.
But sometimes what information is given at the recruiting level kind of gives them either the wrong impression or maybe a misguided impression. What was your experience with the recruiter that you spoke with?
So I went in with a plan. After looking at everything, I wanted to join the infantry to do my 2 years before I could go to selection. So that was the plan I had, and that's what I went in with. And you do an aptitude test, and they'll say, here's all the jobs you can do, here's the ones you can't do.
Yep.
They were really pushing me to go as an engineer, and I don't know if they just needed people in that position or whatever. And he said, the infantry's closed. And I was like, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, call me when there's an opening. That's all I'm interested in. Like, nice to meet you. And I left. And it was like 2 days later, there's an opening for the infantry and you can go to basic training starting October. Yeah. And so that was it. And I didn't know anything about really the infantry units in Canada. I already lived in Edmonton. So I ended up, after all the basic training and stuff was done, going to 3PPCLI out of Edmonton, which I was very happy about. I think it was just logistically, they didn't have to sell my house and move me somewhere. So it worked out well that way, and I didn't have to go to Shiloh. Shout out to VP. Great fellas, but I did not want to go to Manitoba.
Most love and respect for 2VP, but Shiloh, not so much.
So that was good, and I loved being in 3PPCLI. It was like a light infantry battalion. That's where I kind of saw and learned about recce and snipers. I had no idea about that really before. And seemed cool, and it was all the, it was what I wanted in an infantry unit when I was young and gung-ho, and
How many years did you spend at the 3VP before you did selection?
2. So the 2 years, you have to do before selection.
Okay, so minimum 2 years. And in that 2 years, were you able to get a recce course or sniper course?
It was almost perfect timing in that, like, the company I went to, there was a lot of guys leaving, and being new, normally you wouldn't get put on these courses right away, but I got to do like the machine gun course, basic para, recce, and sniper. And then I taught on a sniper course all in the first 2 years.
Good for you, man. For people that don't know, like, that is not the norm.
Yeah, not common.
That is not common.
Yeah, I got really lucky. I think.
Good for you, because I would normally take 5, 6, maybe 7 years if you're squared away, if you're checked out. So good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, and like I tried in the humblest way, just letting everyone know what my plan was, just so it's not blindsiding anyone in my chain of command or whatever. Sure. But also without being like, I'm here to go to the hill, dude. You know, like I really wanted to absorb and learn from everyone there, and it was just they great soldiers, and it was a super cool time. I enjoyed 3VP a lot.
Right on. Yeah. My exposure with 3VP has been great too. Like it's PPCLI was awesome. That's where I started too. I missed the move to Shiloh the year that they moved to Shiloh. I did selection. So I was in Winnipeg before Shiloh. But anyway, 3 PPCLI, one VP, 2 VP, all great dudes. Geographically, 1 and 3 are in basically the same neighborhood, but good people, good soldiers for sure. It's cool. So you do your 2 years, and then boom, your notice of attention goes in, and now you're on your way to do selection. How was your selection experience for JTF2?
It was good. It was funny because it was the only thing in the Army. Once you're in, you realize there's in the training, there's a lot of safety built in. Even though you're training for war stuff and all, you just you feel. If it's still hard. Yeah. The 3VP Recce course was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my military career still. Mm-hmm. But it was feel safe. When I was going to selection at the Hill, I was I did not feel safe. There were so many rumors and stuff. We had no idea about it. Yeah. There is just this mysterious process that kept sending guys back to battalion. And I was like, what is going on over there? And there's rumors and all kinds of stuff. So it was, I mean, it's good, plays into the psychological part of it, but I went in and it was a mystery and I had no idea what to expect.
And do you think, in your opinion, because I have my opinions, but I'd be interested to know, for folks that are preparing themselves for selection, do you think there's any benefit for them to know what they're getting into, or do you think there's more a benefit for them to go in blind like we did?
Well, I think going in blind offers you the benefit of overcoming some of the psychological tug of war with yourself. Sure. So there's that. But I think there's a massive benefit to knowing what you're doing. That I don't think it's necessarily good for the outcome of the unit. You don't want people knowing what your selection is. It's not good for that. No. But it's if you're going to do a CQB run and you know where all the targets are,
it's different. Yeah.
That's a massive benefit. But I don't think it's a good thing overall. I think it's good for if the individual knows. For me, if I would have known all of it, all the worry around the psychological stuff wouldn't have been there. Yeah. But then I also wouldn't have had the benefit of overcoming that stuff and going into the blind and knowing if I could do it or not.
Yeah, I think the character that you become not knowing, and you push through those difficulties, and you really get to, you get a better understanding of yourself and a little bit more introspection. Yeah, I agree. And for the benefit of the unit, I mean, they want to see what you're capable of based on the information that they give you, which is very little, and it's designed for a specific reason. I always find it interesting for the guys that have done it maybe twice. Yeah. Right? So they've already gone through it, maybe finished, never got selected. They come back the second time. They already know a good idea of what they're getting into. It's got to be even tougher for them, I would think, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy I got lucky on the first one because I wouldn't have loved to do it again.
No, for sure. Right on. So it works out well for you. So you get through the first time. Now you're on SOAC. And how was your experience for the Special Operations Assaultive course?
It was great, man. Awesome crew. I found the instruction drastically different from learning at, let's say, a recce course or a course where they're just trying to give it to you. It was professional, and, it was like people were training me to be on their team. Yeah. And there's, they say selection carries on into SOAC, and it's very true. A lot of people, the standards are high, and it's long hours, and it's challenging. And we lost a lot of people on SOAC. Yeah. They didn't make it. They didn't die. Yeah. They didn't make it. Yeah. But I found, even though it was hard and the expectations were high and the hours were long and the weights were heavy and all this stuff, it was still, there was always the feeling that it was people trying to train us to be coworkers eventually.
Yeah, I felt the same way. You nailed it. It was challenging. The standards were extremely high, but you could tell, guys wanted you to succeed. They they would empty their bucket with every ounce of knowledge and expertise to help each and every guy get to the finish line, which I thought was really remarkable.
Yeah,
that's cool. Well, that's good. So a good experience for you. And then were you always interested in sniping, or was it something that when you got exposure to with 3VP, then you really became interested in it?
Yeah, it was more 3VP. Well, I say that, and then I started thinking back about it, and I was like, I always loved the sniper movies. I always loved the sniper characters in movies. Sure. And I was thinking back to like when my brother and I would have pellet gun fights, like he would get a semi-auto CO2 pistol and I like had a cracked barrel long gun and I would be slithering on the ground in camouflage. And I was like, oh, there's a lot of things pointing to the fact that I would be a sniper at some point.
Right.
But really my exposure to it came like going to 3VP CLI and seeing how good it was. And the guys there that I met who were snipers were super cool. And just,
And of the sniping skill and the field craft that goes into it, is there a component of sniping that you really like, that's what really kind of made you tick?
Stalking,
yeah. And what about it? What was it about the stalking that you really like?
It's very much, it's like the people that are really into hunting, I think probably understand this, or really anything that you like with your fighting and stuff. I'm sure you recognize like you're almost forced into a flow state. If something's going on in your head or in your life, like if you're stalking a target, like in sniping, training or real life, it's just like, it's all encompassing. You're in a flow state and you're doing that job. And I always love that about it. It's just it's that thing that keeps you, it's challenging it enough that it's not impossible,
right?
And it's just, you're fully engaged with every sense.
And when you're thinking about, when folks that maybe don't really know what it means to stalk, when you're looking at a piece of ground and you're planning your next bound and your next route, what are some considerations that you implemented that you felt was the keys to success? Like when you're looking at the ground, how do you kind of plan where you're going, and what are the factors that you consider before you get to that next bound?
So I think it's because there's all of that, like every step you take is sort of something you have to plan out. And now for people that don't know, just in a training sense, stalking is there's a target. It's normally an instructor or a trained sniper sitting in an OP position somewhere. You have a grid to it. You start far away and you have to get really close enough to identify some things they're doing and take a shot. And you have to stay camouflaged and they're looking for you with binoculars. So it's like, it's not an easy task, but learning how to use ground, for instance. So a lot of the things will be like not getting yourself into a position that you can't get out of is one.
Good, yeah.
But then it's just the easiest way to describe it is just keeping stuff in between you and that target until you are ready to be in a position where now there's a line of sight between you. That's like the easiest way to break it down. So if there's a hill, stay behind the hill until you're ready to come into a position around where you can see them, but you're camouflaged efficiently. And that goes for just like a tiny indent in the ground. That goes for bushes or trees. Like that would be the easiest thing. Just keep something between you and the target until.
And when you were, executing and exercising these stalks, for example, there would be a time limit. So you have a certain amount of time to achieve the desired aim.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like sometimes maybe you got into your own head with relation to time?
Every time. Yeah.
And then end up rushing or making critical.
Definitely in the early, as I was learning it, that was something that, you want to be bold early, they'll say, like you make bigger moves when you're further away, when Makes you have sense. More things between you and the target, and you become very, very calculated when you're close and, when any little movement can be observed, sort of thing.
And would you have restrictions on the distance at which you could take that shot, or could you take it at any? Okay.
Well, depending on the courses. So different exercises, different courses have different parameters and stuff. Right. But generally, it was you needed to be within a certain distance, and that was because stalking, a big thing that it's testing is, can you move into a place that's being observed unobserved? So if I set up like a K back, like I can see you, you might hit the shot too, but it doesn't really test can you be camouflaged and moving into a position that you can fire from under observation.
That's the art, is that distance, closing the distance. Very cool. And so that part of sniping you really enjoyed, which is cool. And as you do it, just like anything, when you do something over and over, you get better at it. What would you say for say a 22-year-old that's maybe doing a sniper course in the PPCLI, what advice would you give them?
Oh man, don't get caught. Oh geez, I mean, it would kind of depend on what they are inclined to like. For me, it was stalking, and I think that if you can really get good at stalking, if you focus on that, all the different skill sets that come together in a stalk they're like little bits of every other skill set in sniping.
Right.
So I would say focus on becoming good at that, and all of the other things become easier. Because like a wind call is easy to make if you're standing up on a mound, and you can stand up and get the wind. You can look down, you can observe it. It's harder if you're right against the ground, tucked underneath a bush, and like it's something you need to think about from the start. Where is all this coming? And so it makes you better at making wind calls on a range or in any situation, or if you're stuck in a building but you already were observing wind before you got into that building. Observation, like just all the skill sets of sniping come together in stalking. So I think focusing on getting good at that.
There's a lot to it. I was never a sniper and long range shooter. I found it absolutely boring, the concept and thought of it, to be completely honest with you, but I admire those who do it, and there's a lot of skill that goes into it, and I admire that, and I respect
a lot of it is very boring.
When it comes to the technical side of sniping, like understanding winds, reading winds, and calculating, there's a device that I don't know much about, but if you could maybe educate folks on a Kestrel. What is a Kestrel designed to do, and is there formulas or pre-programmed information that you give that device prior to doing the job, or is it stuff that you collect in the heat of the environment? Both.
So a Kestrel will gather information from the environment, all kinds of stuff that affect the bullet's trajectory. There's a wind meter on it, so you can get wind at your position anyway.
Right.
You can get environmental data, density, altitude, all the things that like will just make a bullet fly differently through the air. So it'll pick that up from your surrounding area. And then there's a ballistic calculator side to it, or if you have that Kestrel, the ones we used, there's a ballistic calculator side, and that will have data on, and a lot of this you'll put into it, gun, barrel length, the ammo you're using, all of that stuff. So it does both, and it's really is an amazing little device, because it has a bunch of information in it already too, for bullets that are common, sniper rounds or whatever. And it's a tool that I think it's Brian Litz and Applied Ballistics, and they've done so much work in it that it was one of the big game changer things I've seen in sniping, from like learning in 3 PPCLI to when I did it, like our course at the Hill. Right.
And at the Hill, do you, without obviously giving anything up, but would you say the program that's in place at the Hill, because I've had great conversations with lots of guys that we've had the great opportunity to work with in foreign nations, and they speak very highly of the Canadian specific sniper program, and in not just a JTF2, but Canadian sniping in general. It has high regards with a lot of our allies. Is there an element of the tech that makes us stand out amongst others, or is it the soldier's ability? Is it a combination of intelligence?
I think it was more a mindset around sniping and how the units were made. It's not tech, because we have tech that's available to everyone. Like we have no secret Canadian sniper technology. So it's all, we have access, and even in a lot of ways we have less access than some of our counterparts to technology.
We're usually a couple of years behind, to be completely honest.
And I mean, I've been out of it now for a little while, but when I was in, it was the fact that we had our sniper troop, and it was, you come together at this one place, and you're always talking about whether it was a team coming back from missions or working with a squadron, and everyone was always trying to push that program further and further. And it would just be like, water cooler and coffee break talk, and in between ranges and in between training, the whole place had this like buzz about it. And it was like, well, it was like a collection of very aggressive individuals at our unit trying to push things forward. And that just made it push way faster than if you were disconnected, attached. We talked to guys in US units and stuff, and they're like, oh, we're always attached to whatever squadron and stuff. So you have your little sniper team, but you're not talking all the time with all of the snipers, learning all of the lessons and taking it in. So I think that was one of the big benefits And it was more that approach that I think was the envy sort of some of the other units, at least Five Eyes.
And I found too, like culturally, the unit is like that in a lot of realms. Like we kind of were the same way with approaches to CQB methodologies of, structure clearance. We did the same thing with some of the climbing stuff, some of the diving stuff. Yep. It's very much a cultural thing where guys are open to, the suggestions from other allied nations. And then we would kind of, be critical of it and then really like beat the snot out of it and figure out what works well for what we have available. I thought that was really cool. And, it's cool to know that the guys are still doing that, just pushing the envelope every yardstick at a time. That's cool, man. So, when it comes to long range stuff, are you still on the gun every now and again? How's the body and the head? Like, do you try to...
I mean, if you would ask me this 3 months ago, I would have said, no, I don't really shoot anymore. Yeah. But now I moved down to Tennessee, out of Nashville for music, mainly full time when I'm not touring. And I've started to shoot a little bit more. Right. I would prefer, I could tell you right now, I'm not shooting a 50 cal ever again the rest of my life, and I'll be happy. Yeah. Because a lot of
welcoming a punch in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Come and punch me. Yeah. Because there's a lot of the TBI and brain stuff that happened throughout the years at the unit, and time and distance away from that has been massively beneficial in learning. Music. I think helps a lot, and anything creative I think helps. And so I'm starting to a little bit. We just built actually a custom rifle for this organization called Folds of Honor. Okay. And they're going to auction it off with a instructional range day at their next charity event. So I've been getting into that stuff, and with the Music City Gun Club, like we chatted about briefly, I'm sure we'll touch on all of that. So it's coming back. I just felt like I needed a break from it, Sure. And I was and I'm still like, my main focus is music and songwriting and the business side of that, and trying to get better at doing that.
And that's your passion, right? Music's your passion. And were you always attracted to something of music? Like, were you the type of kid that always had music playing, always dabbled with the guitar?
24 hours a day. So I wish I would have played guitar longer, but I've always loved music. Just learning, like the musical side, like learning music, learning songwriting, even learning how to sing. It never was on my radar. It was always hockey or then the military, but music always was a big part of it. Like we had playlists for everything. Every vehicle that was like I was in had some type of playlist, and there's music always playing. And quite frankly, it was towards the end of my career, I started not enjoying it as much, our job, and I started recognizing music more. Just people playing at the pub I was at, or like, I just started seeing that people were playing music without being a music superstar, like for a living. Right. And then that kind of collided with, like we were saying, my brother passed away in 2019, and he was very musical. He had like a recording studio in his basement. He would record local artists, and he played in a rock band and stuff. And he was always pushing me to get into music. He's like, you got to get into music. You got to get into music. Come record a song. And it's like, I don't play music, and I'm in the military. And when he passed away, it was like, there was sort of, as I was recognizing music more, and when he passed away, I actually started playing music. I started songwriting, and I found it very therapeutic for me. Sure. And it was kind of like, yeah, I love music. Like, what was I waiting for? There was all these signs pointing that, like, I didn't love doing the military thing as much anymore. Right. And so it was like all these things came together, and it was like when I switched my focus from hockey to I wanted to go to special operations. I was like, I'm going to be a songwriter.
So would it be safe to assume, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're the type of person, your personality is when you decide to do something, you're all in?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, arguably to a detriment, but yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a common theme with a lot of guys that we work with.
Yeah.
Right on. So, that's cool. So you used, music as an outlet, as a healing, source of healing,
definitely
to help you along the way. And now you're all in. It's your passion. It's what you do. So you're writing music, you're playing music, you're traveling. What is, for viewers and listeners, like, what does a week look like, on an average week for Dallas?
Every week is different, but the common themes are, like, on a daily basis, I try to practice something with guitar. Guitar is I play rhythm guitar in my band essentially, but getting better with my instrument, vocal work and vocal lessons. and songwriting exercises or songwriting. So that's some version of those three things are in every day most of the time.
And what does, and forgive my ignorance, but what would be like a songwriting exercise? What does that look like?
So I am a big fan of journaling every morning. So I journal, and not necessarily what my day was, and sometimes I reflect on that, but just the first half, and this is just the first half is it's almost prompts. It's like me reminding myself what my goals are and what my focus will be for that day and what it is in my life.
Right.
So it's like a manifestation sort of thing. It's like just, I start my day reminding myself what I'm going to do that day that's going to progress me, and not just music, but everything in my life. And then the second part of it is just, I just write as if no one's going to read it. And whatever comes to my mind, I try and turn it into something that could be in the form of a song. So not necessarily, it's like a little bit more like poetry, but it's in my brain. I'm like, okay, let's say I'm writing a verse, and it can be about anything, just like whatever comes to mind first, and write openly and freely. And sometimes it makes no fucking sense. And sometimes I'm like, oh wow, that's a cool song idea. And it just keeps that creative part flowing. And that's the main exercise I use. Or I'll put on music when I'm traveling that has no lyrics, and it's just some type of musical stuff, and hum harmonies or melodies, and just freestyle stuff in my brain or out loud in my truck. And it has stuff coming from wherever song ideas come from into the real world. Yeah.
Whenever you're driving, you're going from point A to point B, and you might be having some thoughts, and maybe you're onto something. Do you like just fire up your phone and hit voice record and just see where it goes?
Yeah, I've got a song idea notes app that is a million scrolls long, and I've got voice recordings and ideas, all kinds of stuff.
Because man, I don't know about you, but I spend a lot of time behind the wheel. I'm on the road a lot.
Yeah.
And you think about everything.
Oh yeah.
Like 1 minute you're thinking about fighting, next minute you're thinking about fucking, next minute you're thinking about food. And it's just like, man, your brain, it's powerful, right? But you come onto something sometimes, and I find I lose myself, man. I'll pass 10, 15, 50 kilometers.
Where am I?
And I'm just lost in my thoughts, man. It's wild. Yeah. It's cool. You mentioned something about creativity. About 2 years ago, I started taking piano lessons.
Nice.
And my piano teacher, she's hardcore Russian. She's awesome. And she teaches my daughter violin and piano. And I wanted to learn the violin. And she looked at my hands and she's like, I can't do anything with those. She basically,
don't bother.
Don't bother. I said, all right, so violin's out the window. I said, what about keyboard? Could I learn the piano? She said, yeah, we can teach you that. And where I'm going with this story and creativity, it's wild, man. So I would spend an hour with her from 9 to 10 on Wednesday morning. She teach me how to read music, teach me how to play and the keys and the notes and everything, right? And I'm so focused for that hour, my brain hurts.
Yeah.
But then I would leave from 9 to 10. I would leave her house, and then I would go spar from 11 to 12. So doing Muay Thai sparring. And the times that I went from piano lesson to sparring, things that I was doing in sparring, it was outrageous, man. It was like I was in a different dimension, and I was doing things on the mat. And guys would ask me, guys that I train with, they're like, man, have you been training? Because, man, you're sharp. I'm like, no, I'm only training once a week, maybe twice a week. But I do believe that there's a connection. There's something going on in whatever, the left side of the brain that is causing the creativity. So then when I would get on the mat, I was literally just doing combinations and stuff that I've seen or whatever, but not something that I would execute on a regular basis.
Now you're drawing from it.
It's wild. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I gotta get back at it because there was definitely some benefits to that.
Yeah, it does something. And I'm trying to learn piano as well. And just for me, it's more for songwriting to have just, if I could just get the basic notes, which is kind of what I'm doing, where it's different to freestyle, sing, or come up with a song on a piano than it is a guitar, and vice versa. So I'm working on it.
Cool.
It's slow though.
That's all good. That's all good. But your family, tell us about your family. Family's doing good?
Family's doing good. Yeah.
How old's your youngest now?
The youngest is 1.5, well, just about 2 actually. End of August will be 2. My daughter's 4. I got 2 teenage boys that are now basically adults, 18 and turning 17.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best part of my life.
Very cool.
By a long shot. And
the story you told me one of the last times we hung out, which was quite some time ago, but excuse me, if you're open to share it, it's a really cool story when you gave birth to your son.
Oh yeah.
Like that's pretty wild. In the bathtub.
Yeah.
So back in 2016, I was able to start working with Kydex, and the reason I wanted to start working with Kydex was because I was a left-handed shooter. Finding left-handed gear was extremely hard, so I just put 2 and 2 together, started working with Kydex, making left-handed holsters for myself. From there, quote-unquote, refined my process. Started making gear for buddies that were cops in military, and it literally snowballed from there.
Everything that we do is handmade by shooters for shooters, and there's a lot of other Kydex companies out there, and they are also for shooters by shooters. But we take the time and we care about what we do, and I think that shows in our products.
Like working here, this is our home. We brought it from home and we created a home. Our kids have worked here, so this is our home.
Yeah, I mean, that half of that was planned. We were doing like a home birth with midwives, and Sarah went into labor, and so I call the midwife. I'm like, yeah, the contractions have started, and they're like, okay, yeah, just give us a shout when they're at this time distance between. And so I was like calling back right away. I'm like, yeah, we're there. Like, okay, we'll come over, no stress. And then she's like in the tub. She's like, I feel like this urge to start pushing. I'm like, well, give her. And she did. And I ended up delivering our son, Saint. And when the midwives got there, they're like, knock, knock. I go down. Like, okay, how is she? I'm like, we've got a boy. They're like, what the hell? Yeah, it was funny. And I had this feeling. So before I went to bed, I had Googled how to.com or whatever, deliver a baby as a little refresher. Yeah. And then sure enough, it happened.
So walk us through it. So baby comes out.
His actually umbilical cord was wrapped around his neck, which is something that it's not super common, but it's not super rare either. Right. And that was one of the contingencies on the how-to. And I was like, oh, glad I read through that one. Cause you just people can get stressed because there's they're now coming into an oxygen world, they're gonna be breathing, that'll cut off their breath. But it's as simple as unwrapping it without pulling anything. So is it, and forgive my ignorance, is it literally you got a rope wrapped around something that's not supposed to be wrapped, exactly. And you just unwrap it? Yeah, you just wrap it. I think it was around once or twice, and you unwrap it before you pull the baby away from mother. Right. And then pass the baby up to Sarah, and we had a boy. So then were you there, did you cut the umbilical cord? Yeah, I did. So it's, with both children, we do a delayed cut because there's still nutrients that flow for a while. So I think we wait half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever it was. The midwives were there at that point, and then clamped it, and I cut the cord as well. But yeah, it was just a beautiful, and it was all so peaceful. We're a little bit hippie in a bunch of different ways, but it's just you don't have bright hospital lights. It's your own place, and after that's done, the midwives take care of all the stuff, measuring and registering and all the paperwork that comes. And then you're literally relaxing in your own bed at home. And so it was just super nice and a beautiful experience. Yeah. Very cool. Good for you. So once now you have Saint and everything's healthy, everything's good. Mom's doing well. The midwives leave, and then what was your first go-to? Did you want to write a song about it? Did you want to pick up a guitar? Well, I was strumming the whole time the baby was in there. I think he knew how my voice sounded before he ever came out, and it would be the same. I still just strum and pick guitar all around the house, and the little ones are super musical. So it would be, I'd sit in the chair in the corner and was playing something while she's like feeding, and then it was just great also as a turn everything off and wind down and be together for, we did that for a couple of weeks where it's just really chilling at home. And that's the part that is also very welcome, like stepping away from all of the outside world. And
Yeah. And with your schedule now, because you're pretty active in comparison in relation to, when you're at the unit's busy, tempo's high.
Oh yeah.
Like we spoke about earlier, standards are high. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on the guys to bring it day in and day out.
Yeah.
Do you find that with your new musical career and pressure, a different kind of pressure, but do you find it comparable? Do you find it not even close to the same? Like, how do you?
It's comparable in a lot of ways. The job is comparable in a lot of ways, and I think like it's funny because I think one of the reasons we can tour so much and stuff is because the logistics behind it is very similar. Like I could imagine being a 19-year-old musician and being like, okay, we're going to tour the country, and like, where do I even start?
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, we plan a road, we do the distance, here's where we're going to stay the next time, here's the timings, we load in, we sound check, we do our show, we load out, we move all of it is just second nature.
Right.
That I'm doing all of that stuff that normally you'd hire like a tour manager to do.
Right.
And we split up those tasks in our band, but a lot of that is very similar to the unit.
Yeah.
Being out of your comfort zone constantly, that's the same.
Yeah.
I remember.
What do you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to hear your thought. But what do you find is the one thing that you revisit that's like, ooh, that doesn't make me comfortable yet?
It's getting better now. I think from when I made that switch in my brain, and I'm like, I'm going to be a songwriter. I had to start writing songs and learning songs to go play at pubs and stuff. And I was just doing open mics around. Like once I learned like 3 songs, or I'd written a couple, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go open mics and just get used to playing them. And the first one I did was at Rainbow Bistro here in Ottawa.
Yep.
And you go up and you sign up, and there's people just playing their songs or other songs. And there's maybe like 6, 7, 10 people in the bar who weren't even paying attention. And I was like getting ready on the side of the stage to go. And it was the most like nervous I'd ever been in my whole life. My whole life. I couldn't believe that I almost walked out.
Really?
It was so much. And we like, jumped out of planes in the middle of the night, full equipment, and just like shot at and blown up and all these deployments. This was the scariest shit. I couldn't believe it. And I ended up just doing the breathing stuff, relax myself enough that I could sing a song. And by the time the first one was halfway done, I was like, okay, and played the second song. And I was like, I actually did all right.
Found your rhythm?
But before that, I was close to being like, why do I even want to be a songwriter? Like, I don't want to go on this stage. So yeah, that was one of the scariest things. And I get a little bit of nerves before we go on, but I think I feel it more as excitement. The comfort zone stuff would more be trying to grow the business, learning what's out there right now in the music business for especially an independent artist, where it makes sense to give stuff away, hand off stuff that makes more sense for other people to do now. Sure. And just really trying to grow. That's the comfort zone stuff where I'm like, okay, do I need to bring on this person or that person? Get rid of this person or that person.
Sure. And how big is the team right now, including your band members and everyone that helps out with either administration or logistics? How big of a team do you have right now wrapped around you?
It's pretty big because a lot of it is contract stuff too. So like my band, we tour as a 6-piece band. I have management that helps with all of the stuff, booking and, whether sponsorship deals and organization, show contracts and all that different stuff. And then marketing, Canada, US, overseas, and like art and art creation and different people I go to if I need video content or photos or, posters and merch designs, and then a merch company. And I don't know, it's changing all the time. And then studios and engineers and producers, it's always evolving. Our core is like my 6-piece band and my manager. Yeah. But then beyond that, there's everything from. And
what's the band culture like? You get a mixture of demographics, age groups. Like
it's a mix. Like, well, we play with Matt. Matt's my drummer from the unit.
Matt is a beauty,
badass. So it's kind of like he's the 2 I see on the road with the stuff. It's like a small team. It's just like it's kind of like being in the unit, honestly. We have our fiddle player is from like a theater background, sort of. Amazing musician. Young guitar player we just got is kind of a country kid. And he absolutely rips on guitar. My sister-in-law sings with us, and she runs a lot of does like the TM, like tour manager duties when we get to venues and stuff like that. And then we just got a new bass player that we're linking up with in Alberta. So it's all, for me, because we spend so much time together in a bus, going down the road and in and out of places and long hours, it's like the vibe of the person is more important almost than how talented they are, even though obviously that's important.
It is important, but I couldn't agree with you more, man. And, you know, Josh has heard me say this multiple times. I'd much rather take somebody on my team that's high character. Maybe they don't run a gun real well.
Yeah.
You know, they're okay. They're proficient. Yeah. But if they're a good character, you're on my team.
100%.
Rather than somebody that, man, yeah, you can hit a moving target at 300 yards, 12 out of 12 times. That's impressive. But man, if you're not good character, you're a douchebag. Like, there's a spot for you that's out in the parking lot next to the drain grate that I just happen to take off. And if you fall down, oh well.
Yeah, exactly. I've been really impressed actually with the music business. I thought there would be, now don't get me wrong, there's no shortage of ego, but I thought it would be more of just an egotistical, protect my own kind of business. And it's been amazing how gracious people in the industry have been, country music in Canada and in Nashville. Yeah. Just welcoming and willing to share knowledge or contacts or, just anything. I was impressed. I was pleasantly surprised with that, getting into music.
Any big differences between, States and Canada from, what you see on an average, personality wise?
Not really. No? I think it's
similar?
good. It's like country people doing country similar music things. Mostly it's just like the US obviously has thousands of more venues and millions of more country music fans. So it's kind of like you go down to Nashville and the talent is unbelievable. And the music business is all kind of centered around Nashville. And that's why we moved there. Yeah. But we've got a great country music scene and talented artists and stuff. But you think about touring Canada, like there's like one line, you like go across. Yeah. Sometimes you'll jet up to Edmonton, you know what I mean? And then you go back across. Yeah. In the States, you can go everywhere. Every state has hundreds of music venues from all sizes and festivals, and it's just a much bigger market.
Is there any area that you've played so far that it lit you right up and you'd go back in a heartbeat just because of the energy?
Oh yeah, so many. Yeah. My God, I love touring in Texas. And just in the South, I hadn't done a lot of traveling down there. Mm-hmm. And my whole life, a lot of my favorite country artists were from there. So I'm driving through towns that I've heard in songs, or highways that have been in songs, or music venues that have been in songs that I grew up and loved listening to. And I've always loved Texas. And so anytime we go down there to play, I love it and the energy. And Nashville too, like just being in Nashville, and we've played there in some places that are like, they're legendary spots to play on your come up, and walking the streets that like, the artists and legends that I look up to have been to, they drank at this bar, like went to around a Music Row, and it's stuff that we're living in our journey now. And I always find it really like inspiring.
That is cool, man. Very cool. Yeah. And you got a place in Nashville, right? Or Tennessee?
In Nashville.
Nashville. And so you got a house there, apartment there, what?
Apartment there.
Yeah. So you're back and forth from Canada, and right now because you're not an American citizen. So how does it work? You got to spend a certain amount of time in the state?
So it's a performance visa. It's for, they have a visa for artists to go. Like if you can book or either get people to sign off on the fact that your band is booked, or someone to sponsor a longer thing with more shows or whatever. So we've had a visa. I'm looking in this year. I'm kind of taking it up a notch in that department. I started a company in the States, and I'm just looking to make it a little easier. The P2 visa process is kind of an unpredictable pain in the ass.
Okay.
But it's slow lessons with like now IRS and CRA and the company here and the company there. And
that's actually a good question. So you're Canadian. You go to these shows. You perform in a variety of different states. Do you get paid in American dollars based on that state? And are you taxed on that state, or is it?
So it's the payment for each venue is USD, yes, thankfully. But then the taxes are it's per state that you play, because each state is taxed differently.
Right.
And then the US does, like I just literally submitted my tax to the IRS.
Yeah.
And then the rest is like through whatever their federal tax stuff are. And there's a withholding agreement between Canada and the US in certain ways. And there's a bunch of stuff I don't understand.
Okay.
It's enough that I can take this, put it on a form, and give it to the IRS so they don't kick me out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's important though, because you got to keep that stuff watertight. Otherwise,
it's actually something I've been more the last month and a bit, been really diving into learning. I just want to have a clear understanding of figuring it all out, where money comes and how it can flow through to Canada. And so I despise taxes. So minimizing getting double taxed and all of that stuff.
Yeah. And that's a big part of the business, right? Like, it's not it's the difference between a hobby and a business. Like, this stuff is important. So you can keep going for, projectably a long term. What goals have you set for yourself, say 3 years from now? Where do you want to be? What do you have in mind?
Yeah, I don't really have places that are goals. I definitely visualize venues and stuff that I want to play at. Absolutely.
But like one, name one that you like that's my
Ryman
goal.
Auditorium in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big one. I definitely see myself playing the Grand Ole Opry in the next year or two.
Very cool.
Red Rocks. It's a gigantic,
awesome,
badass venue. And it's cool because we've hit a lot of the goals I had, a couple years ago for venues and things and shows. And it's good because sometimes it's like, it's so all encompassing of every ounce of your time and energy to keep going and building.
Yeah.
That like you forget to look back a little bit and be like, oh yeah, damn.
I agree.
We did this and that thing and played with these people and I wrote with these artists and we've opened for these people, and look back to when I was playing like Darcy McGee's and all I wanted to do was those things, So it's definitely cool to look back on that. But I think the goals for the coming years are more focused around like my long-term goals are like becoming a better musician myself, building a business out that makes sense and is still like a reflection of, what I believe in and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And having that foundation set and then keeping an open mind to doors that open and close and the path that I'm on and just opportunity coming in. And I think I've been doing that and just opportunity just seems to find me.
I believe in, I think sometimes we create opportunities for ourselves.
Absolutely.
When we're proactive and we're hungry and we're willing to take risks.
Yeah. And it's looking for it. It's like keeping an open mind to it, because the same person worrying about last week can walk by the same opportunity that you might be like, oh, I didn't know this thing was for sale. Yeah. Or like, oh, this person, like just, the meetings that happen, all this stuff, like when you're open to it, it's like the world just like shows you that stuff that you're looking for. And if you're just looking for something to be mad at or stressed about, you're going to find it.
You're going to find it. Yeah. You don't have to look too hard. You don't put too much effort into it. Yeah. I agree with you, man. And also reflecting, like, I know personally since May, 1st of May, I've been on the road a week, home for a week, on the road for a week, home for a week. It's been busy. And just recently, my wife's very patient, but just recently we've had that conversation. She's like, hey, like, remember part of the reason that
the pace,
part of the reason that you decided to leave the unit was so you could be home more. She's like, you're never around, and I got to do better at when I am around being present, because there's times, man, where I'm home and I'm working for that next thing, and not often do I just kind of take a break and then kind of look back and just enjoy the moment.
Yeah, it's a tough one, man. And I don't know if it's like something in our character that's why we ended up at the unit we were in. But it's tough to turn off, because you're obviously, you're hungry for something and passionate about something. So you're like, well, I got to give it my all. Like, what else am I going to do? The balance stuff is, that's like a challenging one.
And what would you offer as advice? Because I get this question a lot, and I find myself being a bit hypocritical where I'll give sound advice, but I sometimes don't execute or exercise my own advice.
Okay, I'll try and give advice just that I practice.
Balance.
Not what I've read somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I think like, and I look at time and like when we're traveling, when I was in the unit, when we're on tour, you're doing so many different things, a new town every day, a different show, you're meeting a million people. It's like time flies. And I look back on even like we did a 2-month run of show after show after show. I'm like, what did we do last week? Like where we met 100 more people in between. And I honestly think that for me, like playing a round of golf with my teenage boys, like it slows down time.
Sure.
Just wrestling with my kids or doing arts with my daughter. Like it's like this hack to not just bring you back to present, but it like literally slows down time. Like time doesn't fly by so fast.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I just try and carve out those moments of, you know, when I'm not, and divide it, not like, okay, we're playing, but I just got to do this. And I still do that. Like this email has to go out. Okay, it's done.
Yep.
Let me hide my phone away so that this is what I'm doing. Yep. And it's just trying to, instead of multitask, like just really focus single tasks. Like, okay, this Zoom meeting is done, close it, doing this. We're going to go whatever for a walk, or we're going to go build something or do something together as a family.
Yeah.
Cause it's easy. I mean, I still get sucked into it, but it's easy to be like, okay, well, this is a really important business thing for this business I'm trying to do. So I need to do that. I wonder if I could do it while we're whatever, doing anything else that you're supposed to be focusing on. So
that's exactly
I try to not multitask. That would be my advice.
Yeah.
Just do single tasks. And if it has to be quick and you switch to another one, just do all of them well, as good as you can.
Yeah, as best as possible, for sure. Just compartmentalize it, take care of it, put it away.
Yeah.
And what's next? Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. Cool. So what do you have? Do you have a favorite guitar? Like, what is it that you play on a regular basis?
Oh yeah,
Acoustic,
I've got a favorite
electric,
guitar.
both?
So I mainly play acoustic because we got an electric guitar player in our band, and I could play every day for the rest of my life and never be nearly as good as him. So we're going to leave that to him.
Okay.
But I do a lot of work trying to get better to support, the band, the sound, and write better songs and stuff on guitar. So I definitely have a favorite. I got this one probably 4 years ago now. It's a Martin DSS 17. So it's an acoustic. It's like a smoke black, they call it. Has a white pick guard. The guitar sounds incredible. It's been with me now on the road for 1 million miles. It's getting worn in just like in all the right places.
Yeah.
And I bought a backup guitar for this last tour. I was just renting a backup until I could decide what I wanted. I bought a Gibson J45, which it sounds incredible. It just still hasn't taken the place of my Martin. So it still sits on the rack until I break a string or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely my Martin DSS 17 is the go-to for me. Yeah.
And when you're getting ready for a show, do you guys have like a team routine? Is it an individual base where everyone gets ready, they get into the venue, and then everyone kind of gets their mind right for what it is they're getting into? Or is it kind of loose, or like, do you guys have a structure?
Yeah, we kind of have structure, and it's kind of left to each individual. So like leading up to, let's say, a run of shows, it's everyone's responsibility to know what they're going to play and what they're going to do. And then we'll do a rehearsal with the band before we go on tour. So 1 or 2 days, depending on how long the run and the sets and new material. And then each show, and it changes. It's normally the first few shows on a tour where you're really going through stuff to make sure it's all right. And if there's something we got to work out together, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And then we just all go off to our own. And I'm normally strumming and singing a lot before we get on stage. And a lot of that's just to warm up my voice and go through things if I made a mistake at one point. And then Matt's always, he has this whole, your whole podcast could be like a 2-hour thing about Matt's pre-show routine.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on.
He does a lot. Yeah. And then, we just, the routine is always hotel, drive to the next city, load in our gear, set up, sound check, wait for the doors, opener's done, we play our show, close down, go to the next town.
Right. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah. But we've kind of fallen into, and once you're 5-10 shows into a tour, it's the prep for the show is less and less.
Right.
It gets slicker and slicker. Yeah.
It's rolling.
We just did this last night.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you ever find, does it ever happen where maybe a band member is off tonight, he's just having an off night or whatever, and you guys will switch up either the said set list or maybe put a different song in a different order based on how someone's feeling?
I think normally that's just me. If
okay.
I'm feeling something different from the crowd or a vibe is different than what we have in our set list, I'll just call it a switch and we'll play a different
And then do
song
you have like kind of like a drop down menu? We're going to do a switch. If we do, it's going to be this song, or you just kind of
just get to surprise everyone.
Okay, cool. And then everyone else will just take your lead.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell. So like we have a music director in our band, which is Jesse, our fiddle player. So I'll tell him just beside me, like, hey, we're going to play this instead.
Okay.
And he has a little talkback mic that the crowd can't hear, but the band can hear.
Right.
And he'll be like, okay, we're switching to this song.
Okay.
And then we play that song.
Cool.
Yeah. Keep everyone on their toes.
And it's seamless to the crowd because they don't see any of that or hear any of that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Right on. Awesome. And then, for, folks that like myself, forgive my ignorance, I don't know anything about the music industry. Like, what is the one thing that comes up on a regular basis that, it's like, we're going to have to deal with it. It's not enjoyable, but it comes with the business.
Content. I think I've actually had a mindset change in this a little bit. It's the music industry now is so content and numbers, streaming and all this stuff. It's so important for the businesses around the music, for booking shows, for whatever, endorsements, for sponsors, all of this stuff, for streams, for ticket sales, for all this stuff. Like, so, you have to stay constantly on creating engaging content and try and figure out what that even means for your brand and stuff.
Yeah, that would be my follow-up question.
There's like a blueprint that labels use and management companies and PR, but you can't. It's when I see them and like, oh, you should do something like this. I'm like, that is so not me that I'm not doing it. So for a while I was just like annoyed that you have to make so much content, but I've switched a little bit to thinking of it as like an extension of my art instead of like this hindrance to me creating stuff. So like if I make a song, how do I want visually that to be, even if it's a promo video, just any of it, like how does this song, if I were to like have visuals around it or have all of the things be an extension of that instead of something that's just a big pain in the ass.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Find a way to connect with why it is.
Yeah, and enjoy make content that you enjoy making, just like music. Like I don't play a song just because that's what will maybe go to number one on radio, even though that's not my vibe. So I'm like, why am I doing it with content?
So with that, my follow-up question would be, do you have a favorite song, one either that you wrote or something that when you see it on the list, you're like, you really light up. You like playing that song.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of changes. And it's funny, it'll change with like the crowd sometimes. I think I'd say my favorite song to play live is Can't Blame My Bloodline. So I wrote that by myself. It's a pretty high energy kind of Texas country feeling song, lots of fiddle. It's a vibe. And it's a high energy song on stage and it's fun to play. So yeah, I'd say that's like my favorite song to play live. Yeah.
Cool. And tell us a little bit if you tell us whatever you want about the gun club. So what's the
Music City Gun Club? Yeah. So it was an idea I had. I started going down to Nashville just about 3 years ago now. I guess 2.5 years ago, and I would go down every month or two and just write songs with people and network and be around that scene. And then last year, we spent the entire month of March down there, and that was like a test to see if, the family liked it and they loved it. So we moved down this year. And it's a very common thing in Nashville, if you're down there and you've grown a network of songwriters and artists and you have friends, to start what they call a writers round. So it'll be like, I go to your bar, let's say, like, hey, let me put on a writers round here. I'll bring in the artists. We have a following. People will come listen. You guys sell beer. We play our songs to people. And it's a good way to get your name out and do some networking and stuff. But so that's sort of where Music City Gun Club came from, is instead of me starting a writer's round, I was like, well, why don't I take like this old skill set I used to have and bring artists and writers together and teach them how to use, because it's Tennessee, like everyone has guns.
Has a gun. Yeah.
So I'm like, let's teach people how to shoot better.
Cool.
And that's sort of what it started as. It's just, a networking day of artists and writers and industry people. And we got some good sponsors on board, and we bring in instructors, and everyone just has a great, like, the response has been amazing.
Awesome.
So
Very cool.
we've only done two events, and the first one, it's a lot of content obviously focused so that we can continue to grow the brand. But yeah, since then it's just been really cool. I'm getting hit up constantly how people can get onto them, which is good because we want to keep it kind of an exclusive thing and make it kind of challenging to get to be a part of.
Yeah. Keep it small.
Yeah, keep it
intimate,
small and so that, you know, because really what it is, like if I were to start a writer's round, even if I have a buddy that's one of the best songwriters, be like, hey, do you want to come play my round? I'll be like, fuck, sure. Yeah. But if I'm like, hey, you want to come get better at shooting? They're like, when is it? Yeah, I'll clear my schedule. Yeah. So it's there's no sales pitch involved. Yeah. And then we get to build what it is we're doing. And yeah, it's been picked up. Like there's a couple big charity organizations. Folds of Honor is going to auction one off. The Charlie Daniels Foundation is going to auction off a Music City Gun Club day. Cool. The last one we had a label called Electric Feel did a takeover, and that's like it's a publishing house and label in Nashville that Post Malone started with another person, I think, or two others. So their writers are all just like world class, and they came out and they absolutely loved it. So we do that shooting range day, have some giveaways from some sponsors and stuff like that, and then we go do like a cocktail kind of mingling hour. Yep. And that's Music City Gun Club.
Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. When's the next one?
October 6th.
Very cool. Yeah. Right on. And is it all sold out already? You have all?
Yeah, that one's full. That one's going to be mainly, there's a big Canadian artist lineup on that one, which would be pretty cool. I'm excited.
Can you release any of it? Or is that
I don't think I will yet.
Okay. All right.
Just in case any of them have to back out. Although then this could put some pressure on them maybe. But no, everyone, it's going to be cool because it would be a hard thing for me to do that here in Canada because I mean, we'll do like a pistol day and we'll do that. And it's just like, I don't even know if I could do that here.
Well, yeah, you could. Pistol and shotgun would probably it, but yeah, down there it's a little bit different. Definitely. Yeah. Well, that's good, man. Good for you. That's cool. Right on.
Yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. Good. So, and you're traveling again tomorrow. So what's coming up? What do you have coming up short term?
Yeah, we're headed to Montana tomorrow. Play a show there. Another one in Wyoming. Then we go down to Salt Lake City. I'm going to do a podcast down there. And then we play a festival in Washington. And then we go up to Alberta for a few shows. Yep. And then back to Nashville. And I'll probably chill out a little bit after that. The last little while has been pretty crazy on the road. Yeah.
Right on, buddy. Well, I won't keep any more of your time. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule.
Yeah, I'm glad this worked out while I was back in Ottawa.
It's good. I'm glad you could do it. It's great, man. You know, for folks that have been following the Direct Action brand, like, you know, what we stand for, what we're trying to do is bring guys in from a variety of different backgrounds to share some of the good stuff. You know, there's lots of good people that have done good things while they're in uniform, and now they're out of uniform, you know, and they're doing really good things. So that's the motivation behind what we're doing here. So
love it. In
closing, Dallas, if you could think about it for a second, if you were going to give advice to your 22-year-old self who had aspirations of going down a military journey, maybe, you know, CSORs, JTF2, CGIRO, what advice would you give your 22-year-old self in terms of how to prep yourself mentally and physically?
I think a lot of people focus on the physical, which is good. Obviously, it's physically demanding. And I think sometimes don't prepare enough mentally. You can, if you know this, if you can do 100 pull-ups, you're going to have the mindset that you're going to have to do 110 because you'll probably get to that physical point. And I think it's recognizing things in your life that like are challenging and not turning away from it just because it's challenging, you know, things like, so for me, if it was specific to selection preparation at that age, like it would be mindfulness practices and things like that are all, you know, everyone now knows about it, but just like cold exposure is a big one. Getting confident in the water is a big one. And just anything you can think of where you have a mental deficit or like something that you would be like, yeah, I want to shy away from that because it scares me or it's hard. Go do that stuff.
I would say, you know, from the mental side, 100%, that's one area that doesn't probably get as much attention as it should. But also the caveat to the physical side too, is I find some guys, they will shy away from the areas physically that they know is a limitation. So they train hard.
Oh yeah.
They train hard, but they're doing...
Was it the saying? Chase your weakness?
Yeah.
Train your weakness? Yeah.
Doing a lot of the same things that they're already good at. So I think it's great advice, strengthen the mind, bulletproof the mind, but also, if flexibility, for an example, is an area that you need to work on, well, I wouldn't avoid it, put some effort
And I
into
would
it.
say, actually, this was something I kind of did, and I wish that was focused on more before getting into one of these very high pace intensity units, is preparing yourself for the fact that you're going to go through things overseas and in training, and you're going to see stuff in real life that is out of the norm.
Mm-hmm.
And so to kind of attempt to protect yourself from PTSD down the road, process all of that shit as you go through it.
Yeah.
Don't save it, box it up. There's all kinds of, you can do it a million different ways.
Sure.
There's mindfulness, there's journaling, there's practices, there's entire probably psychology departments based around this, but getting all of that stuff processed as you go through it, so you're not saving it all up for post 20-year career and then it all comes out.
Agreed. Yeah. That's it. Deal with each obstacle as you come to it. It's great advice, my man. I appreciate it. All right. Anything you want to share with the viewers or listeners before we close out?
No, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
All
That was
right,
cool.
buddy. Thank you very much for your time, man.
Hell
Appreciate
yeah.
it, buddy. Good to see you. Boom.